Good day, is Mr. Joseph Amon here, tutor for Bachelor of Education in Senior Primary Education. And here we are again back with Social Science 4 for the examination-based context sessions. So this presentation also is based on the April, August, as well as the November examinations for 2019. Once more again, this presentation is not a scope in itself, but it is just a guide for the examination. The exam covers the entire module. So all the units are important. It might be that I left out one unit here or so, but all the units, all in all, are very, very important. The first unit that we will take a look at is Unit 1. It's about the rational and pedagogic in social studies. Rational and pedagogics in social studies. The first point to focus on under this unit is the aims of social studies syllabus. In the syllabus, in social studies, we focus on history and geography. So here, all the students focus on the aims of history as well as social studies. They are very important. Importance of history and the importance of studying geography. All the aims in this part are needed to be looked at. Then the next point to focus on is the curriculum standards for social studies learners. There are certain standards that need to be looked at. Certain facts, certain things that students, learners should be able to attain in the end. So in this case, these standards are there for learners to be attained. Students should look at what are these standards that learners are supposed to attain in the end. Then the next point here to be focused on is the learner-centered education. LCE, learner-centered education, nowadays is very important. So here we are looking into the important role that the learner should play in the class, in the education, in his own environment. So here the learners are taking the lead by teaching themselves, where they are also being taught by their peers. So students need to focus on learner-centered education, which is very important. Unit 2 of this module is about planning and lesson preparation in social studies. During the 3 exams, students will be given various topics. So the lesson preparation part is very, very important. Students should know all the various phases of lesson preparation, and then also being able to use different topics in setting a lesson plan. So this is very important. You need to target different topics in the subjects of social study, history, geography, various important topics. Work out your own lesson plans and see whether it works. It's very important. Unit 3 of this module is about assessment and teaching. Here, students are advised to look into the various types of assessment. As we all know, learners need to be assessed at the end of the day. Now, what type of assessments are we going to use? There are various, so please make sure you focus on the various types of assessment so that you know where and when you are going to use assessment A or B or C. So assessment types, very important in all three examinations of Unit 3. Unit 4 is about development of the Namibian nationalism. Here we are focusing on the history of our country, Namibia, and here we should focus on a number of points here. The first one being Dr. Sam Nuoma's role in the OPO. Dr. Sam Nuoma played a very prominent role in the establishment of OPO and its existence. So, what role did he play in the establishment of this political organization that was later changed into SWAPO? Also, students should focus on the contract labor system. Contract labor system, which started in Cape Town, South Africa, and that was then brought to Namibia, introduced into the Namibian labor system with specific intentions. So here, students should look into the contract labor system as a whole and focus on it in all its phases for the various examinations. The next point to focus on here is then also the Windhoek massacre in this part of development of Namibian nationalism. The Windhoek massacre was like the starting point in the history of Namibia. Politically, we should focus on this one as a starting point of our own history and how we went through the historical developments and in the end gained independence and being a successful independence country. So the Windhoek massacre should be looked at. But there are also other massacres that happened. So please make sure that you compare these different massacres with each other, and also then the terminology is also very important. What is a massacre, etc. So that will be Unit 4. We move to Unit 5, features of the South African colonial administration. So here we should focus on the following. The role played by SWAPO in the liberation of Namibia. As we know, SWAPO as a political party played a very significant role in liberating our country. So what role did it play? Not just in Namibia, but also in other countries, neighboring countries. The role that SWAPO played is very important in this unit. Unit 6 we should focus on the role of the church on the road to independence. As we know, the church played a very important role in the politics of Namibia. So here we should focus on the following points for the exams. The roles of the church in the liberation of Namibia. The church played various roles as a silent partner in the politics of Namibia. So what different roles did the church play in the liberation of our country? The next point to focus on is the main criticisms in the open letter. We should look into that. As we know, the open letter that was sent to South African authorities were containing some important information, and these information are then set as criticisms by the local people on the South African government. So what were these main criticisms on the SA authorities at the time? So please look into that. Unit 7, here we should focus on Namibia becoming a republic, with the first point as the Resolution 435. This peace plan that was proposed for the Namibian liberation had many demands. It came with demands. What were the demands of this peace plan? So looked into it. There were some restrictions, there were some delays of this peace plan 435. Students are advised to look into all the features of this resolution 435 plan. Then the next point to look at, to focus on, is the features of the Namibian constitution. Our constitution comprises of different features. So these different features are each one having its own kind of work or descriptions. So please make sure that you understand the various features of the Constitution of Namibia. Also under this unit, very important, branches of government. Our government are having certain branches. There are 3 branches, and they do have some descriptions. So please make sure that you understand these branches and their functions. They are having each one different functions at different levels. So make sure that you follow these functions, identify the branches with their functions. And if we move to Unit 8 of this module, here we are looking into the African struggle for independence and economic development. After gaining independence from colonial authorities, various African countries could not survive economic pressure. Countries could not develop because of certain factors. Here we should focus on factors that caused an economic crisis in Africa. What were these factors that brought an economic crisis in Africa? If we move to Unit 9, It is about the social, political, and economic developments in world history. So this is a broad aspect of world history. There were many social, political, and economic developments. But then here we should focus, make sure that we focus on the following here. This point, the persecution of the Jews. As we know, many Jews were staying in Germany, but then because of the political situation in Germany, they were forced, many of them were killed, they were persecuted because of certain reasons. Many of them fled to other countries in Europe, to Poland and so on, where they were also under pressure there. So this point of persecution of the Jews is it is a broad one. So please do not think that it is a 2, 3, up to 5 points. Question this one. Explore it and make sure you know as much as possible about the persecution of Jews during this time in history. Unit 11. When we take a look at Unit 11, this is about the features of the Namibian ecology. So here we are coming back to the geography part of our module. And here students are advised to look at all the features. Here we are talking about, when we talk about features, we are referring to features of the ecology. And here we think about things like deforestation. We are referring to desertification and so on. All the features are important of the ecology. Here, students are advised to focus on the following within all these features. The causes of these features. What caused these features? If we say overpopulation, what were the causes? And are the causes of overpopulation in certain areas of our country? We are looking at the consequences. What were the consequences of overpopulation, for example? And what were the possible solutions of overpopulation as a feature of the Namibian ecology? So all the features are important, whether it's desertification, whether it's overpopulation, whether it's you name it. So please look into the causes, the consequences, as well as the possible solutions to all the features of the Namibian ecology. Unit 12, if we looked into Unit 12, it is about geomorphology. Under it, we should focus on weathering, for example, as a unit under geomorphology. Very important. We should know the terms, what is weathering, for example. Here we are looking also, we should focus on factors that are causing weathering. There are different factors that are the agents of weathering, so students should know these agents factors that are causing weathering, and then also the different types of weathering. If we go to Unit 13, it is about population geography. This is a very dynamic part of geography, and under it, very important, students are advised to focus on population distribution and its density. The distribution of population in countries, as we know, it's unequal due to various reasons. So we should look into that. What are the reasons that are influencing population distribution within countries? And then also when we looked into the density, students should know why some countries, some areas in some countries are more densely populated than others. So that is all in all about population distribution and density. If we looked into the next unit, which is Unit 14, important, Unit 14 is about regional geography. Here, we should focus on the following part: factors influencing the climate of Namibia, which is the first part. There are various factors that are influencing the climate of Namibia. As we know, we are situated in the southern part of Africa. Hence, we should look into the geographic location of our country, where we have a cold sea current on our one side, the Atlantic, the Benguela. So there are various factors that are causing our climate to change and that are influencing our climate. Students are advised to look into these factors for the examination. Factors influencing the climate of Namibia. Then the economic growth in Namibia is also influenced by certain factors. Of course, it could be the same factors. So there are factors that are influencing the economic growth of Namibia. And students are advised to make sure that they looked into it and they make sure that they know the factors that are also influencing the economic growth in Namibia. This is the end of this module. I thank you very much.